Hello and welcome to session 4, class 4 of my Cartoon Academy for the summer. My name is Cartoon Ray. I am a lifelong cartoonist and cartoon enthusiast, and I love to draw. I draw pretty much every day, and I started this channel just about 3 months ago, and I was so blown away by all the support and love I was getting that I wanted to do something to really feel like I was doing a bit of service to all these people who are watching me and supporting me and throwing their love into my life. And so I decided I was going to teach cartoon drawing for free on TikTok and YouTube this summer. I hope the YouTube stream is going okay. I've had some connection issues over there the past few streams. I'm trying to resolve them. And so far, what we've talked about in this class is basic drawing technique, how to get steady lines, how to work on, well, let's just see. Here we go. Finish this guy. My rule is always sign and date your work, because someday you might look back and want to know, when the heck did I do that? Oh yeah, that's right. I did it on 6/14/22. I think it's a really good habit to be in. Okay, so what have we talked about? We talked about the critic and the creator who live in your brain. And you can only have one or the other on at a time. And for this class, I want you to remember to, you can use your critic. You know, you want to look at something you drew. I want to look at this Beast Boy and I want to go, okay, I think next time I could draw the shape of the highlight in his hair better. But I don't want to do that while I'm drawing it. While I'm drawing it, I just want to create. Don't try to do both at once. And when you're thinking about drawing, I want you to think about it as very similar to going to the gym. The more times you do something, the more you just basically are training the muscles in your body to be able to do it. So even if I'm sitting here doing the same circle over and over again, my brain, not even the part of me that thinks, but the part of me that just stores all of the experience, is slowly accumulating information about that. And so just the act of doing stuff, even if you're doing it not that well, your brain is learning from your actions. So do it. Do it, and don't worry too much about whether it's good. The best way to get good at something is to do it 10,000 times. And oh boy, this pen's beat. I'm getting a new one. We're breaking a new pen, by the way, the people who are asking. It's a Micron Pigma 10. I go through about one of these every 3 or 4 days because I draw a lot. Oops, get that slightly out of the way there. So anyway, I want you to draw a lot. I want you to not judge yourself, and you'll get better. Those are the main things with this class. Today, what we are going to talk about is something that I think every single artist I've ever met has struggled with at some point, and that is hands. We are, oops, is that better for YouTube? Hands, they suck. Everyone struggles with hands, right? So we're just going to talk about a little bit of the basic thing of hands. When I draw a hand, here we go, this pen, brand new pen, let's see how it goes. When I draw a hand, I basically am looking at this basic thing. And I have drawn a lot of hands in my life. I'm not saying this is a perfect hand, but I'm saying it's a lot better than I used to do, and I can do it pretty much without too much prep now. I can just kind of get into it. I'll admit I practiced a little bit earlier today, but it's a little bit intimidating. It's really hard to get the angles just right on this thing, but it can be done. and we're going to talk about how. One thing to think about when you're going to draw hands is it might be easier to start with like a Simpsons hand, which is the very same thing, but we only have to do 3 fingers. And the reason that's easier is the same reason that that we struggle with the forehand, with the 4-finger hand, and that is that it's really hard to get the spacing right? Most of us, we try and draw fingers, and it kind of goes like 1, 2, 3, 4, but then you wind up with this hand that feels really wide, and it doesn't quite work. So the first thing that we're going to look at is just breaking up our shape into the phone holder. Is it's a crazy contraption. I'll show it to you in a story video sometime. But to start, I'd like you to draw a short line, maybe like 1 inch across, like that. By the way, it doesn't matter if you're using a pen or a pencil. This is the pen I'm using. It doesn't matter. Okay, now this is a skill that comes in handy a million other places. I want you to get in the habit of estimating. We have our line, put an end on each side, and do your best to estimate where the middle is. It doesn't matter if you don't get it exactly right. We want to be good at estimating how far, where the middle of a line is. Anytime you see any line, it's useful to be able to look at it and say, where could I put a dot that would be halfway through? With this first line, I want you to, now we have this, I want you to do another divide so that we now have a break in that half and a break in that half. And between each of those, you can do a circle. The nice thing about this is you don't have to do the whole circle. You can just do halves, like so. Because what we basically want to wind up with is 4 evenly spaced circles, whatever size line you're working on. Make that line, estimate the middle. It's okay if you're wrong, you get better at it with time. Estimate the middle, and then estimate the middle between the middle and the left, and the middle and the right, and then make each of those into a circle. See, it's not, I didn't do it exactly right. Doesn't matter. It's one of those, it's like I say, it's one of those things where don't judge yourself while you're doing it, judge yourself after. I know it's hard not to judge yourself. But you want to keep going, and let's just do one more. All right, this is how we get our evenly spaced fingers, because this is what our hand really looks like. What we're basically drawing right now is knuckles. Not Knuckles the echidna, but Knuckles for our hand. Swapping over to a new page. Okay, so once more, we have our line. We find the half. Doesn't have to be exact. And we make circles that fit into each of those spots. This is also great practice for the circle drawing that we were working on a couple of sessions ago. Because now I want you to, from that middle line, you can make a straight line out and then try and curve back around and aim back at that spot like that. And over here, we can do this one a little bit shorter. And this one a little bit shorter. And this one a little bit shorter still. Okay? Now, what happens for a lot of people is they make the palm too short. So you end up with a thumb sticking out early. So what you want to do is get comfortable creating a pretty long palm here. That's all I can say about it, right? You could do this, and then you wind up with long fingers and short hand, and that's a big problem. That's one of the reasons that people have a hard time with it. But you want to try to extend that palm out. Eventually, we're going to come out to an arm here. And then you can choose your side, but somewhere we're going to need a circle that kind of comes out slightly over the edge there. And then a straight line off the edge of that that goes back like that. And that's going to basically be our thumb. This doesn't look like a hand right now, but it's going to. Scoot over a little bit. This is just practicing to get our proportions right. Let's do the circles again. I know it's review, but let's just go again. Split it into 4. And this time, what we're going to do, my hand this time is a little bit smaller, but this time what we're going to do is try and angle them out a little bit. So instead of having a line that goes straight up the middle like we did before, now I'm going to have this line come out a little bit and try and go parallel from the other side so that I wind up with a line like that. Similarly, from the other side, go out from that dotted line, create another line that goes somewhat parallel and curves around, and finally create space between this one and this one, because seldom are our hands really out like this. They're more often spread. And we kind of forget that. We mostly think when we're drawing hands, we mostly worry about the tendency of them to bend. We don't always remember about the spreading out side of things. Okay, another chance to draw a palm. See what happens if you go way too long. I think that's an interesting challenge because we tend to make palms too short. So it's better to try to do the extreme opposite and do another circle that kind of comes over the edge there. And this time we'll give a little curve there and another little curve there, because our thumbs do tend to have that cute angle to them. Or at least mine do. Mine turns like almost 90 degrees. Okay, so that's the basic structure I want you to understand. And what's cool about that is, well, actually, if we're going to be really technically accurate about it, when we're drawing our hands going forward, what we'll want to do is that first line, we actually want it to be more curved like this, right? If I look at my knuckles, they actually go across like that. So when we're starting our hands, we can kind of think of them as being this sort of a shape. But you can still divide into quarters and create those knuckles. So those digits, you'd wind up with something that looks like this, which is what a fist looks like from the back. My camera can't get quite far enough, but you have those guys, that bump of the thumb. You could draw those lines on it that you know so well from cartoons. Okay, so what we've done so far, let's do one more thing here and say the alternative would be if we're doing our fingers out like that. I'm just showing you for the sake of what we're about to draw. This is essentially what I'm going to be adding. That could have been thinner, a little bit like that. See, it's my critic coming in, but I wait till I'm done with the creative action to not jumble it up, so that now when I come over here, I can create that same shape and kind of over time get a little bit in the habit of going like that. All right, because what we're drawing in general right now is the basic hand shape. And what's cool about the hand is the same shape, front or back. So right now, if I draw those 3 lines on it, it'll become the front of the hand. And if I just go like this, or sorry, that's the back of the hand without these lines. And now I can add these dots to get the front of the hand. Okay. So now let's try the more cartoony equivalent of this. Okay, so now I'm going to let's switch things up and go the opposite direction. But let's just say give me this shape, please. It's kind of almost a B or an R. We're kind of, you could almost start with a straight line here and then curve around, and then it's got this big bulbous part. Okay, and then from just where that curve comes up, we're gonna go up and out, and just do this with me. Draw the fingers, go slowly, and don't worry about it while you're working on it. But when you're done, come back around, and then when you've gotten all the way around, then you can talk to yourself about, is this good? What would I do different? What am I gonna do different next time? Thinking about it's not good while you're working on it won't help you, but thinking about what do I want to do different next time is the way you get better. So I look at this and I think actually my palm's a little bit long. I smudged it. But I think that the finger length is okay. But you might wind up with something, where what's the most likely option, where you draw your thumb and then that'll happen, right? Where you wind up with like too much hand, not enough thumb. And that comes from just trying to be really deliberate and keeping the fingers more or less. You'll be able to change it over time, but you'd like the lines of each finger to stay parallel. So you'd like them to stay consistent. So when I'm drawing it, I can kind of think about up to the thumb, and then when I come out here to this finger, when I turn around, I want to go straight back along with that finger. Now I've probably done too skinny of fingers here. I want to go straight back along, because the tendency to draw fingers like they're really skinny at the end and fat at the bottom can be a kiss of death for your hand drawing. This is a very long fingered hand. That's okay. Okay. Great. Now we have about 10 minutes left in class, so here's where we're going next. Okay, so what we started with was this basic hand, all right? We have a thumb that looks like that, and then 1, 2, you know how many fingers are. I'm not counting. It's 4, all right? So that's our basic hand on a sort of a thick arm there, all right? Now here comes the fun part, to me the fun part. Okay, so you can take that thumb and fold it over on itself just by going like that. So now you have a hand that looks like this. And the only difference there is thumb looks like this. Thumb is a curve that goes like that. It's adaptable over time. You can use it different ways. Thanks for those awards. I don't know what they mean, but I appreciate that. Oh well, it's just that's just who this character is the short fingers. But yeah, you're right. They're short fingers. All right, now you have that trick. Now let's do the same thing up here. Thumb down, come around like that. Now when you come up, turn around early and go like that, so that now you can go 1 finger up, 3 fingers down. I'm sure this is a sign language symbol for something to somebody, but I don't know what it is. It's not intended as anything other than just to show you that we can slowly put all those fingers down, or put them down in any combination. You can do the hardcore sign by going like this. Or you could do a thumbs what would be a thumbs up if we were drawing sideways by going like this. It's not quite a thumbs up because the thumbs up would be harder down, so it's a bit more like, that's kind of what I drew. Hands not all the way closed, but, or fingers not all the way closed, but like so. Or go all the way for a fist by drawing that bent over thumb like so, and then we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what? Ultimately, what a fist should really look like is much more curved over thumb. So you wind up with most of the fingers at least partially behind it, like that. You know, and all of this is, it's important to say probably that the pen is a Micron Pigma 10. Thanks for those follows. Thanks for the likes. It honestly means a lot. All of this, you should be understanding that when I'm drawing all of these, I'm drawing these with a pen. It's a first try. If you're drawing them with a pencil, it's great to make a mistake and erase. I don't get everything right on the first try. When you see a video on my channel, it's usually the third or fourth attempt. It's okay to not get something right and then do it again. I promise you, anything you've ever seen that you liked went through drafts where it was not as good. I am drawing live here, so not everything's going to be perfect right out of the gate. It's okay. It's okay to not be perfect. Okay, so then what do we need to know? Okay, so one more little thing. We'll go like this. Right, that's the bent thumb, straight out to a hand like that. I could have drawn the index finger starting a little bit further over, but it's okay. These are just the principal elements to drawing hands. Okay, now let's talk about, and right, it's the same thing. I'll say that again. It's the same thing if I draw this hand. The really great thing about hands is I draw that one, I draw the very same one again. Not the very same one, but pretty close. And then this one gets some lines. You can do fingernails. And this one gets these lines, and it's the very same shape. So I've effectively drawn a left and a right hand here. Just useful to remember that it's the same shape from the front and the back, just with different lines filled in to complete it. Okay, just a few minutes left here before we go into questions. I will say it's also true of like this one. So I could draw the same shape from the outside. Now I'd probably want to do a little line down like that, but it's fundamentally the same shape of hand, right? It's this basic shape. So once you know how to draw a hand from one side, you know how to draw a hand from the other side, just filling in different details. Okay, what else? Do a quick look at, if you wanted to draw, how about this? Up like that and down like that. And then up here we're going to go like this and turn around. If you want to draw a hand at the side, you could also do thumb coming out like that and a finger coming around like this. And then 1, 2, 3. That's not perfect, but you get the point. The thing that's really important to remember when drawing hands from any angle other than head on is to know that you are always drawing the finger nearest to you and then allowing the other fingers to appear behind it. I probably did that a little bit conservatively there, but basically you're using that first finger to establish where the others are. I love to draw a hand like this. You draw the thumb first, you draw a finger up there. And we're going to cover more dynamic hand poses like this in the next class. But I just wanted to get through the basics of quick review. Fundamentally, you talk about your palm. We're talking about a curved line at the top and a big curve like that. When you're thinking about your finger spacing, you kind of want to just be able to have 4 evenly spaced circles. It's good to give them a little bit of extra space if you can, but you just think about, can I fit 4 circles in there first, and then draw out from there. This is a pinky, that's a ring finger, middle finger, index. Worth noticing, if this is your line for your knuckles, the angle on the fingers is a little bit sharper, right? You get that curve down here, much bigger curve up top. And then for the thumb, thinking about it as a circle that comes slightly over the edge and weighs more to one side than the other. And then you can, when you start to get more complicated, you can think about each of these as its own digit where it will rotate, rather bend from. But we don't have to do that just yet. Okay, 1 minute left. Another quick experience. So there's 1 minute left. I will say homework is, I want to see a sheet of paper with an open hand, and then 4 other bent finger gestures. And I will say that this is the 4th class. If you just came today and you want to be part of this course, great, and please do. You also can come and go as you like. If you want to get a certificate at the end of this course, the way to do that is to do the homework. If you do 75% of the homework at any degree of quality, I'll give you a certificate at the end. It'll just be a PDF that you can print at home, but it will say, I completed Cartoon Ray's Summer Cartoon Academy in 2022, and I'll make it nice for you, and it'll be a cool thing you can be proud of.